Acharei Mot, and Kedoshim. The name of the Parshah, Acharei Mot, means after the death of, and comes from Leviticus 16 verse 1. The name of the Parshah, Kedoshim, means holy ones, and comes from Leviticus 19 verse 2. The following are some of the main points in the Torah portion. After Nadav and Avihu die, God tells the people not to let strangers into the holy place. On Yom Kippur, only the kohen gadol, high priest, is allowed to enter the sanctuary's innermost room to offer the holy ketoret, incense, to God. During the Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, a lot is selected for 2 goats to decide which one will be given to God and which one will be sent out into the wilderness to take Israel's sins away. This ceremony points to Yeshua in a remarkable way. People shouldn't bring korbanot, offerings of animals or meal, anywhere but the holy temple. It also says that people shouldn't eat blood and explains the rules against incest and other forbidden sexual relationships. The holy union between one man and woman is a reflection of the oneness we are to experience as the people of Israel with our husband, the Almighty. It is of utmost importance that the marriage covenant be guarded so as to preserve this holy reflection of the Eternal One. You must be holy because I, Hashem, your God, am holy, says the first line of the Parshah of Kedoshim. This is followed by dozens of mitzvot, which are spiritual commands that help us become holy and connect with the holiness of the Almighty. They help to distinguish us from the animals that Hashem also created, and help us better reflect the divine image in which we were made. These include the rules against worshiping idols, the obligation to give to charity, the idea that everyone is equal in the eyes of the law, Shabbat, sexual morals, honesty in business, respecting and honoring one's parents, and sacredness of life. Being a part of God's people is intertwined with being just and kind to our fellow human beings, since we are all His children. Leviticus 19 verses 9 and 10 says, "When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not fully reap the corner of your field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest. And you shall not glean your vineyard, nor shall you collect the fallen individual grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God." It's hard to leave a piece of field unharvested, especially if you're struggling to make ends meet. How did the farmer make up his mind to do what he was told? He just had to keep in mind that the land was not really his. He was, in a way, just a sharecropper who worked the land on God's behalf. These rules apply to more than just farming. We all have work in different fields. The point is to leave a lot of room for other people's needs. The sages say that the Torah doesn't say how big the corners of the field have to be. A generous person might leave big corners for the gleaners, while a poor or stingy person might decide that 1 or 2 stalks in each field's corner are enough. In both situations, the man's field showed what was in his heart. Speak to all the congregation of the sons of Israel and say to them, "You shall be holy, for I, the Lord, your God, am holy." Leviticus 19, verse 2. One of the rules of holiness says, "You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another." Leviticus 19, verse 11. The Torah says that a pious person dishonors the name of God when he or she acts in a dishonest way. The word holy means holy, and the word impure means not holy. The word holy means set apart. The word profane means common and ordinary. When a religious person acts the same way as the average people around him, he makes God look like an average person. He hurts God's name. The sages thought that the commandment, "You shall not oppress your neighbor, nor rob him," Leviticus 19, verse 13, meant that you couldn't do business in a dishonest way. As followers of Yeshua, who follow God's Torah, we should always try to be completely honest, especially in business. At the beginning of Parshah Kedoshim, the Torah combines 3 ideas that don't seem to go together at first. Don't hate your brother in your heart. Correct your fellow. And don't sin on his account. Leviticus 19, verse 17. In the 6th chapter of Hechos Deot, The Rambam ties each part of the verse to make a therapeutic whole. If someone hurts us, we shouldn't let our feelings build up inside, because that will lead to resentment and hate, behaving passively. Instead, you should go up to the person and correct him by starting to talk about what he did. This is assertive behavior. But when we do that, we must be careful not to sin by making the person feel bad, bullying behavior. The Rambam adds 2 important factors that help make sure the reproof works and that aggression doesn't happen. First, you should have the talk in private. This keeps the other person from looking bad. Second, it needs to be done in a soft and gentle way. It's important to use the right tone of voice and words to keep the talk going in a friendly way. Proverbs 18:20 and 21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." Let us remember to use our tongues wisely. Also in Kedoshim is the saying, "Love your neighbor as yourself," which the great scholar Rabbi Akiva said was one of the most important parts of the Torah. Hillel said, "This is the whole Torah, the rest is commentary." Likewise, Yeshua said, "This is the greatest and the first commandment, and the second is like to this, love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments depend the whole law and the prophets." Matthew 22, verses 35 and 40.